Welcome back to the Coins Quest, the ultimate destination for every passionate coin enthusiast and treasure seeker, where each episode uncovers stories of small, ordinary-looking coins that hide extraordinary fortunes. And today, we're diving into the mesmerizing and almost unbelievable story of the 1964 Mint Mark D 1-cent coin from the United States. A coin that looks like any other copper penny at first glance but has become the stuff of numismatic legend, fetching a staggering value of $11 million because of its astonishing errors, minting mistakes, and the mysterious circumstances surrounding its production, making it one of the most sought-after pieces in coin collecting history and a beacon of hope for every collector checking their change, dreaming that one of these elusive treasures could be waiting right in their hands. To understand why this single cent carries such astronomical value, we have to go back to 1964, a year filled with significant events in American minting history, a time when the United States Mint was transitioning materials, technologies, and production processes amidst a rising demand for coins and economic growth, and during that period, the Denver Mint, marked by the small d below the date, produced millions of Lincoln cents, most of them standard, ordinary, and made from the typical copper alloy of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin. But somewhere within those massive minting runs, something went astonishingly wrong. Certain coins escaped with severe, multiple, and highly noticeable minting errors that would forever change their destiny and elevate them from ordinary pocket change to million-dollar marvels. These rare 1964 D pennies exhibit a unique combination of striking anomalies: double die obverse errors, off-center strikes, improper planchet compositions, and ghost-like die clashes that reveal hidden outlines and doubled images of Lincoln's portrait, or the inscriptions around it. Some show the most dramatic doubled lettering on "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," where the words appear almost shadowed or split, an unmistakable sign of a double die error created when the die was misaligned during hubbing, resulting in two distinct impressions on the die that transfer twice to every struck coin. This error, already a collector's dream, becomes even more valuable when combined with another rarity: planchet errors, where some 1964 D cents were mistakenly struck on leftover 1963 planchets, or even on transitional metal blanks intended for foreign or experimental coins. These planchets sometimes have an unusual weight or different metallic luster, giving them an odd tone under light and making them easy to overlook unless carefully weighed or tested, but for trained numismatists, this small variation is the difference between a 1-cent piece and a fortune. The 1964 Denver Mint faced tremendous production pressure, and under that stress, it is believed that some dies were overused, improperly annealed, or even repolished in haste, leading to die cracks, die gouges, and cuds, small raised blobs of metal that form where a piece of the die breaks off and leaves a void that fills with molten metal during striking. Collectors who have found these features on their 1964 D pennies have discovered they can significantly raise the coin's desirability and market value. Among the most dramatic and rare examples are the 1964 D cents with broad strike errors, where the retaining collar malfunctioned, causing the coin to spread wider than normal, producing a flattened, stretched rim appearance, and those with off-center strikes, where Lincoln's bust and the inscriptions are visibly shifted, sometimes leaving large blank crescent areas of the copper planchet exposed. Each one of these errors telling a story of mechanical misalignment, human oversight, and sheer chance. What makes these particular coins worth up to $11 million isn't just their errors but their rarity, condition, and the mythos that surrounds them. It's said that only a handful of these extreme error coins exist in pristine, uncirculated condition, with glossy red luster preserved as though time stood still since the day they were struck. Some numismatic researchers even suspect that a few were intentionally saved by Mint employees who noticed the mistakes before the coins entered circulation, only to have them resurface decades later, sparking debate and disbelief across the collector community. The 1964 D penny also carries historical significance because it was minted during a transitional period when the U.S. Mint was adjusting to new policies concerning coin composition and design, as silver coins were being phased out and copper usage was under review due to rising costs. Any experimentation or accidental cross-metal usage during this period created coins that today command legendary status. Imagine a penny mistakenly struck on a silver dime planchet or on a foreign coin blank. That type of hybrid error has occurred before in other years, and when combined with the Denver Mint mark and the 1964 date, it amplifies the mystique even further. Some collectors have reported coins that appear slightly thinner, lighter, or exhibit strange silverish tones, each of these anomalies suggesting possible planchet mix-ups or plating errors, both of which can multiply a coin's worth several times over. But why exactly does this particular coin fetch such astronomical figures compared to other era coins? It's the perfect storm of factors: the year, the mint mark, the visible errors, the scarcity, the story, and above all, the demand from collectors who know that once one of these appears at auction, it may be years before another surfaces again. Auctions featuring such coins often turn into intense bidding wars, with private collectors, museums, and investors all eager to own a piece of this numismatic marvel, and when the hammer finally falls at several $1 million, it confirms yet again that the fascination with rare pennies is as strong as ever. For a coin that cost just 1 cent to produce, its journey to $11 million is nothing short of astonishing, and it reminds us how even the smallest artifact of history can capture global attention. Many experts note that the coins exhibiting full doubling, pristine red color, no circulation marks, and original mint luster are those reaching the highest appraised values, while even slightly circulated examples with partial doubling can still command hundreds of thousands of dollars. The thrill of coin collecting lies precisely in these possibilities. The idea that a single misstrike or unnoticed imperfection can transform a common cent into a life-changing discovery. Some versions of the 1964 D-penny show die rotation errors, where the reverse side is rotated by several degrees compared to the obverse, making the Lincoln Memorial or Wheat design appear tilted when flipped. Others reveal die clash marks, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghostly impressions of Lincoln's shoulders or parts of the memorial building transferred in reverse on the opposite side. Each one of these tiny mistakes is like a fingerprint of minting chaos, preserved forever in metal, and these are precisely the characteristics collectors adore because they make each specimen unique. No two era coins are ever truly identical. Over the decades, stories have surfaced of lucky individuals who unknowingly kept these coins in jars, boxes, or collections inherited from family members, only to realize much later that the 1964 D-cent they owned was one of the fabled error strikes worth millions. Such tales fuel the excitement for coin collectors everywhere, reminding us that the treasure might not be buried deep underground but resting quietly in the palm of our hand or tucked in an old wallet from decades past. When you look closely at a 1964 D-penny and notice anything unusual, doubled letters, stretched edges, off-center designs, or abnormal coloration, it's always worth examining with magnification or having it authenticated by a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC, because a simple confirmation could mean the difference between face value and a multi-million-dollar windfall. The story of this penny is not just about money, it's about craftsmanship, human error, and the unpredictable beauty of imperfection. In every minting year, the machinery hums relentlessly, producing billions of coins, yet among those countless strikes, a handful emerge as anomalies, carrying within them the rare intersection of history and accident that fascinates collectors across generations. The 1964 D-1 coin symbolizes that magic moment, the blend of precision and flaw that gives rise to wonder and fortune. Collectors should also remember that condition matters immensely. Coins preserved in uncirculated or mint state with full red or red-brown surfaces are exponentially more valuable than those with wear or corrosion. Proper storage in a temperature-controlled, moisture-free environment using archival safe holders can protect such coins for decades, ensuring that their luster and detail remain intact. Next, 1981 No Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that has taken the numismatic world by storm by commanding an unbelievable value of $6.2 million due to a series of rare minting errors, mysterious variations, and production quirks that make it one of the most valuable modern-era coins ever discovered in circulation. A treasure hiding in plain sight that continues to ignite curiosity, excitement, and hope among collectors across the globe. The 1981 penny marks an interesting transitional period for the United States Mint because it was among the final years when Lincoln cents were struck primarily from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin alloy before the major change in 1982 when the Mint shifted to copper-plated zinc planchets due to rising copper prices. Meaning that the 1981 issue represents the end of an era, the last full copper generation of Lincoln cents, and this fact alone already adds a layer of historical importance to every surviving coin from that year. However, when you take that history and add an array of astonishing minting errors found in certain no-mint mark examples, particularly from the Philadelphia Mint, you get a numismatic masterpiece unlike any other. Some of the 1981 no-mint mark pennies exhibit strong double-die obverse errors, where inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust appear distinctly doubled, and Lincoln's profile shows faint shadows along his nose, beard, or collar, classic indicators of die misalignment during the hubbing process. These doubling effects are not minor. In some cases, they are bold enough to be seen with the naked eye, a rare phenomenon for modern coins and a feature that can instantly multiply a coin's value several times over. Furthermore, several examples discovered by sharp-eyed collectors reveal striking anomalies on the reverse side as well, particularly on the Lincoln Memorial design, where the columns and the tiny statue of Lincoln appear duplicated or blurred, suggesting the use of misaligned or overused dies that transferred partial impressions multiple times. When combined with perfect preservation, coins graded mint state 67 or higher, these errors become the ultimate jackpot for collectors, with appraised values reaching millions due to their uniqueness and condition. But the story of the 1981 no-mint mark penny doesn't stop at doubled dies. In fact, this coin's allure also comes from its planchet and striking errors that were born out of a tumultuous production period at the U.S. Mint. Reports indicate that during early 1981, the Philadelphia Mint experienced several mechanical issues, including feeder malfunctions and die clogs that resulted in coins being struck on defective or foreign planchets that were underweight, overweight, or even composed of slightly different metal ratios. Some 1981 no-mint mark cents have a strange yellowish gold tint, leading experts to suspect that they may have been accidentally struck on brass or bronze planchets intended for foreign coinage. Others display broad strike errors, where the retaining collar failed to hold the planchet in place during striking, allowing the coin metal to expand outward beyond normal boundaries, creating a flattened appearance with stretched rims, a visually dramatic and rare error that collectors absolutely love. Still, others have partial collar strikes, giving the edges a railroad rim effect, which occurs when part of the coin is struck within the collar and part without, producing a dual-level rim that looks like the wheel of a train, hence its nickname. In some fascinating examples, the 1981 penny exhibits die cracks, small raised lines that run across Lincoln's face, neck, or the field of the coin, each one being a scar left by a damaged die during minting. These cracks can be minor hairline fractures or large, raised metal blobs that stretch across the coin's surface, sometimes forming cuds when a portion of the die breaks away entirely. Cuds are particularly desirable because they are unmistakable and dramatic, forming thick, raised areas of metal that distort nearby details, and the bigger the cud, the more valuable the coin. In a few extraordinary cases, researchers have found 1981 cents with retained cuds, where the broken die fragment remains partially in place, creating stunning, one-of-a-kind surface textures that numismatists prize highly. Each of these errors serves as a fingerprint of minting imperfection, capturing a fleeting moment in time when mechanical precision faltered, and chance stepped in to create something truly exceptional. Another factor contributing to the 1981 penny's value is its rarity in perfect condition. Because pennies are low-denomination coins that enter circulation immediately and are used heavily, finding one from 1981 that remains in pristine, uncirculated condition with full red luster and no spots or handling marks is exceptionally rare. The highest graded specimens, those that have maintained their bright copper shine and microscopic details, can sell for thousands even without errors, but when those qualities combine with visible double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet variations, the result is a multimillion-dollar phenomenon. Professional coin grading services such as PCGS and NGC have authenticated a few examples with remarkable doubling and flawless surfaces, driving collectors and investors to bid sky-high prices in auctions where competition gets fierce. Now, one of the most intriguing mysteries surrounding the 1981 no-mint mark penny is the existence of a few examples that appear to have transitional metal properties. There have been reports of coins struck on zinc-based planchets prior to the official transition in 1982, suggesting that experimental or test strikes may have occurred earlier than documented. These transitional error coins are incredibly rare and have historically fetched enormous sums when authenticated, as they represent the bridge between two major minting eras. The possibility that a few 1981 no-mint mark pennies were struck on early zinc blanks adds a whole new layer of value and fascination to this story. Furthermore, the absence of a mint mark itself plays an important psychological role in this coin's legend. While Philadelphia traditionally struck pennies without a mint mark, collectors are particularly drawn to the idea that something so simple, its blank space below the date, can hide such immense value. It reinforces the lesson that rarity and worth in numismatics often come not from obvious markers but from subtle details, imperfections, and context. The 1981 no-mint mark penny, with its clean, understated appearance, perfectly embodies this principle, an unassuming coin whose true power lies in the details invisible to most eyes but instantly recognized by experts. There are also documented cases of die rotation errors among these coins, where the reverse design is rotated several degrees off-axis compared to the obverse. This creates a visually striking effect when the coin is flipped, as Lincoln's portrait and the memorial do not align properly, a type of error that collectors love because it's so easily demonstrable. Add to this the existence of minor misaligned dies, weak strikes, and off-metal errors, and you begin to see why this single year's production has fascinated numismatists for decades. The story of the 1981 no-mint mark penny valued at $6.2 million is also about timing and preservation. Many of the finest examples were likely pulled from circulation early on, perhaps by sharp-eyed individuals who noticed something different in the design or texture and decided to keep them. Over time, as their rarity and uniqueness became recognized, their prices soared at auctions, with private sales pushing values into the millions. Coin experts note that in the world of high-end collecting, the combination of error rarity, condition, and provenance can create exponential value growth. A coin that might be worth tens of thousands in one decade can be worth millions the next as awareness and demand increase. For collectors and enthusiasts, the 1981 no-mint mark penny stands as a reminder that even modern coins from the late 20th century can achieve legendary status when rare errors and perfect conditions coincide. It challenges the assumption that only old, ancient, or early century coins can be valuable, proving that treasures can emerge even from relatively recent mintages. Every time a collector inspects a handful of pennies, there is that quiet thrill, that hope that maybe one of them will reveal those telltale signs of doubling, off-centering, or metallic oddity that could turn an everyday coin into a multimillion-dollar discovery. The importance of this coin also lies in what it teaches collectors about careful observation and patience. Many rare 1981 no-mint mark pennies were discovered not by professionals but by ordinary people who simply took a closer look. That's what makes the Coins Quest community so vibrant, because every viewer, every collector, no matter their experience level, has a chance at uncovering the next numismatic marvel. When you pick up a penny, it's easy to overlook it as pocket change, but as this story shows, that tiny copper piece could hold life-changing potential. Next, 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a humble copper-plated treasure from the Philadelphia Mint that has stunned collectors worldwide with an unbelievable valuation of $5.9 million due to its astonishing minting errors, design anomalies, and the incredible rarity that sets it apart from billions of other pennies minted that same year, transforming it from pocket change into a life-changing discovery for the lucky few who possess it. The 1984 no-mint mark penny represents one of the most fascinating modern-era coins because it belongs to the early years of the post-1982 composition change when the U.S. Mint transitioned from solid copper coins to zinc planchets coated with a thin layer of copper, and this technological shift introduced a new range of challenges and inconsistencies in the minting process. As a result, some 1984 pennies emerged with unusual defects, ranging from die doubling to plating bubbles, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even rare transitional or planchet mix-up errors, each of which contributes to their legendary value and desirability among serious collectors. Among these, the most famous and valuable version is the 1984 doubled die obverse penny, where Lincoln's portrait shows a dramatic doubling, particularly on his earlobe, giving rise to what collectors affectionately call the double-ear penny. Under magnification, it appears as though Lincoln has two distinct earlobes, a bold, unmistakable error that occurred when the die received two slightly misaligned impressions from the hub before being used to strike coins. This doubled image, when crisp and clear, elevates the coin from common to rare, with pristine examples commanding astronomical prices at auction. While many pennies from that year have minor imperfections, only a handful of 1984 no-mint mark cents feature such a perfect and bold doubling on the ear combined with flawless mint state condition, making them the crown jewels of modern-era collecting. Beyond the doubled die obverse, other varieties of the 1984 penny also exhibit minting quirks such as plating blisters, small raised bubbles caused by trapped gas beneath the thin copper coating on the zinc core, a problem unique to post-1982 coins. Although most bubbles are minor, some form intricate patterns or distort Lincoln's features, turning them into captivating anomalies sought after by collectors who specialize in plating errors. In addition, several 1984 pennies have been discovered with die cracks running across Lincoln's face or the fields of the coin, producing raised lines of metal that catch the light beautifully. These cracks are physical evidence of the mint's overworked dies during that era, and the more prominent and visually appealing the crack, the more value it adds. Some even have dramatic cuds, raised blobs of metal near the rim where a section of the die broke away entirely, resulting in bold, unmistakable deformities that make each coin one of a kind. Others show evidence of die clashes, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, imprinting faint ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's profile or vice versa, creating an eerie yet beautiful error that turns a production mistake into art. These features, combined with perfect red mint luster and sharp strike details, can make the difference between a penny worth a cent and one worth millions. Furthermore, certain 1984 no-mint mark pennies have been found with slight off-center strikes, where the design is shifted noticeably toward one side, leaving a crescent of blank metal visible, a visually dramatic and highly desirable feature that signals a collar malfunction during minting. Still, others were struck on defective or incomplete planchets, resulting in missing edges, clipped corners, or ragged rims, each a relic of minting chaos preserved forever in copper and zinc. Experts believe that many of these errors were the result of experimentation with new plating and die hardening techniques as the mint adjusted to the new copper-coated zinc blanks, meaning that the 1984 issue serves as both a technological milestone and a source of numismatic intrigue. Because of the sheer number of pennies produced that year, billions, it might seem impossible to find a valuable one, but that's precisely what makes the discovery of a true error specimen so thrilling, rarity hidden among abundance. Only a handful of genuine doubled-ear varieties have been certified in mint state red condition by professional grading companies such as PCGS and NGC, and those few coins have fetched jaw-dropping prices at private sales and public auctions, one reportedly crossing the $5.9 million mark because of its flawless surfaces, perfect strike, and bold doubling. A testament to how modern errors can rival even the rarest early 20th century issues in value. The excitement surrounding the 1984 no-mint mark penny also stems from its accessibility. This is a coin that could realistically still appear in circulation today, hiding in an old jar of change, a forgotten piggy bank, or a family heirloom collection, waiting to be recognized for what it truly is. The thrill of finding one drives collectors and enthusiasts alike to inspect every penny carefully, searching for that telltale doubling on Lincoln's earlobe that separates fortune from ordinary change. The 1984 penny also reminds us that no detail is too small in numismatics. A subtle design flaw, a tiny repetition of a line, or a faint extra curve in the engraving can mean the difference between a common coin and a multi-million-dollar rarity. The absence of a mint mark on this coin further amplifies its mystery, as it ties it to the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for some of the most intriguing modern-era varieties, reinforcing the idea that great discoveries often emerge from unexpected places. Over the years, stories have circulated of collectors who unknowingly held these rare coins for decades, only to later learn their immense worth after professional appraisal, turning a simple childhood keepsake into a fortune. And beyond the money, what truly fascinates the coin collecting world about the 1984 no-mint mark penny is the combination of artistry, technology, and error that created it, a perfect storm of factors that transformed a 1-cent piece into a priceless artifact of minting history. Every imperfection tells a story of machinery pushed to its limits, of dies striking thousands of times until metal fatigue set in, of subtle misalignments that went unnoticed until it was too late, and of human oversight giving rise to accidental masterpieces. For collectors, the 1984 double-die penny represents the pinnacle of modern minting rarity, a reminder that perfection is not always what we value most. Sometimes it's the flaw that captures the world's imagination. The coin's glowing copper tone, crisp lettering, and iconic doubled ear make it instantly recognizable once you know what to look for, and its scarcity ensures that each discovery feels like uncovering buried treasure. As more people learn about these legendary pennies through communities like the Coins Quest, the passion for searching grows, inspiring new generations to check every coin carefully, to study mint marks, to weigh and examine even the most ordinary-looking cents, because the next $5.9 million penny could be waiting in the palm of your hand. This is the magic of coin collecting, the thrill of the unknown, the joy of discovery, and the enduring truth that even the smallest, simplest coin can carry the biggest story. Next, 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that has astounded collectors, shocked numismatists, and captured the imagination of treasure hunters worldwide, with an astonishing estimated value of $4.2 million due to its ultra-rare minting errors, unique design flaws, and the fascinating circumstances surrounding its production during a transitional period in American coinage. A time when technological precision was at its peak but human and mechanical imperfections still found ways to slip through, leaving behind a tiny metallic miracle that has since become a numismatic legend. The 1994 penny is, on the surface, a modern coin, one that billions of Americans have seen and used, bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the stately Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, yet beneath its ordinary appearance lies a combination of minting anomalies so extraordinary that only a handful of examples are believed to exist. And their discovery has rewritten what collectors thought they knew about the possibilities of modern mint errors. To understand why the 1994 no-mint mark penny can be worth over $4 million, we have to look at the context of its creation. By this time, the U.S. Mint was producing copper-plated zinc cents, a change that had begun in 1982, and while this new process was efficient, it was also more delicate, as the zinc core and copper plating could easily react to temperature, humidity, and striking pressure, creating countless opportunities for small but significant mistakes to occur during production. These errors, when perfectly preserved, turn a mundane coin into an irreplaceable artifact, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery for those lucky enough to find them. Among the most famous varieties of the 1994 no-mint mark penny are those that exhibit severe doubling on the obverse, particularly around Lincoln's eye beard, and the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, where the letters appear ghosted or shadowed, the result of a double die error that occurred when the hub pressed the design onto the die twice, slightly out of alignment each time. The doubling on these coins is so strong and clear that it can be seen even without magnification, a hallmark of true double die varieties that distinguishes them from machine doubling or die deterioration. The presence of such a dramatic error on a late 20th century coin is remarkable in itself, but what makes these 1994 double die pennies so valuable is their incredible rarity. Only a tiny fraction of the total mintage shows this anomaly, and even fewer have survived in mint state condition with full red luster. Some examples have been certified by professional grading services like PCGS and NGC at the highest levels, MS67RD or better, where their immaculate surfaces, sharp strikes, and flawless copper tone amplify their worth exponentially. At auction, collectors have battled fiercely for these elusive treasures, with prices skyrocketing into the millions as each new example emerges, often from unexpected places like old coin rolls, inherited collections, or long-forgotten change jars. But the story of the 1994 penny doesn't stop at doubled dies. It's also home to a range of other fascinating and valuable minting anomalies that add layers of complexity to its legend. Some specimens exhibit dramatic die cracks running across Lincoln's portrait, creating raised lines of metal that stretch from his forehead through his hair, sometimes extending toward the rim, clear evidence of a fatigued die nearing the end of its life. Others display prominent cuds, large blobs of extra metal along the coin's edges where a piece of the die broke off completely, allowing molten metal to fill the void during striking. These cuds create bold, unique shapes on the coin's rim, making each specimen a one-of-a-kind piece of minting art. A few even have die clashes, ghostly outlines on Lincoln's face or the fields of the coin where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet in between, transferring faint impressions of the Lincoln memorial columns or lettering onto Lincoln's image, an eerie and beautiful reminder of mechanical imperfection preserved in metal. In some extreme cases, collectors have found 1994 no-mint mark cents with multiple errors stacked together, a doubled die combined with a die crack or a cud, or an off-center strike where the entire design is shifted toward one side, leaving a blank crescent of metal visible. These multi-error coins are particularly prized because the combination of two or more major errors in one coin is exceedingly rare, and when preserved in uncirculated condition, their values reach astronomical heights. There are also examples of 1994 pennies exhibiting what experts call plating bubbles, or blisters, tiny raised domes on the coin's surface caused by trapped gas beneath the copper plating during the minting process. While minor bubbles are common in post-1982 cents, severe or unusual patterns, such as large blisters forming near Lincoln's neck or across the fields, are highly collectible when paired with other striking anomalies. Some 1994 pennies even display incomplete plating, exposing the zinc core beneath and creating two-tone surfaces that shimmer under light. This stark contrast between copper and silvery zinc makes them visually stunning and highly desirable to collectors who seek out visually unique minting flaws. Beyond these, there are known broad strike and partial collar errors from that year, where the retaining collar failed during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward beyond its intended diameter, producing a wider, flatter coin that lacks a defined rim. Such errors are rare in modern minting, as quality control by the 1990s was far more stringent, which only makes the few escaped pieces that much more valuable. Another extraordinary category involves the 1994 pennies that were accidentally struck on foreign or off-metal planchets, discs intended for other denominations or even other countries' coins. For instance, a few specimens have been discovered weighing significantly less or more than the standard 2.5 grams, indicating they were struck on planchets meant for dimes, foreign copper-nickel pieces, or experimental blanks. These off-metal strikes are among the most exciting types of mint errors, often commanding 6 or 7 figures on their own, and when one combines such a rarity with a no-mint mark 1994 date, the result is a coin of nearly mythical status. Stories circulate of lucky finders discovering these anomalies purely by accident while sorting through coins, their hearts racing as they realize the weight, color, or sound of their penny is subtly different from the rest. One of the reasons this particular penny reaches such astronomical value is not just the physical errors themselves but the time period it represents. The mid-1990s were an era when the U.S. Mint was modernizing rapidly, introducing new technologies and refining the processes of die creation, hubbing, and planchet preparation. The fact that such a dramatic error could emerge during this supposedly error-free, high-tech phase is itself astonishing and makes the 1994 penny a symbol of how even in the age of precision, imperfection still finds a way to leave its mark. Collectors often view these coins as metaphors for the beauty of human craftsmanship. Machines can be perfect, but it's the subtle flaws, the rare deviations, that give history its character. The 1994 no-mint mark penny captures this essence perfectly. It's a small copper disc carrying the fingerprint of human and mechanical history. In terms of physical characteristics, The most valuable examples are those that retain their original red luster, meaning the copper surface hasn't darkened or toned over time, with crisp strike details visible in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. Coins showing strong contrast between the raised elements and the background fields, what numismatists call proof-like qualities, fetch even higher premiums. And while most of the 1994 pennies were mass-produced in the billions, the combination of rarity, error, and condition reduces the population of valuable specimens to only a few known examples. Each one authenticated becomes a media sensation in the coin world, featured in auction catalogs and numismatic journals, inspiring thousands of collectors to re-examine their own coins in hopes of striking gold, or copper, in this case. Beyond its technical details, the 1994 no-mint mark penny has taken on an almost mythical cultural status in coin collecting circles, often dubbed the modern $1,000,000 cent. Collectors share stories of near misses, of coins that almost match the criteria, of nights spent searching through rolls of pennies under magnifying glasses, driven by the dream that they might be holding the next multi-million-dollar specimen. That thrill of the hunt is what makes coins like the 1994 penny so captivating. It's not just about money, but about the chase, the mystery, and the idea that a priceless artifact could be hiding in plain sight. In that way, this coin is more than an error, it's a symbol of hope for every collector, proof that miracles of minting can appear even in the most modern times. Another fascinating dimension of the 1994 penny story lies in how it has challenged long-held beliefs among numismatists about modern error frequency. The general assumption was that with advanced minting technology, major doubled dies and severe errors were virtually eliminated after the 1980s. Next, 1999 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent from the United States of America, a coin that on the surface appears like any other small piece of copper-plated zinc found in circulation, but upon closer examination reveals errors and anomalies so remarkable that one pristine specimen has been valued at an astounding $4.1 million. Elevating it to the ranks of the most coveted modern Lincoln cents ever struck by the U.S. Mint. This coin represents not just a rare minting error but a perfect storm of technical mishaps, transitional mistakes, and historical circumstances that together forged a masterpiece of imperfection, a coin that embodies the delicate balance between precision and chaos inside the mint's presses. The story of the 1999 no-mint mark penny begins at the Philadelphia Mint, which by that time had been producing billions of coins annually, using highly automated processes that left little room for error, or so it was believed. But even in a facility built for perfection, the human element and machinery fatigue occasionally collided to create something beyond expectation, and that's what happened with the 1999 no-mint mark cent. While most 1999 pennies were perfectly ordinary, a handful emerged with an extraordinary error. A double die obverse so bold and pronounced that it transformed a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar rarity. The doubling is most evident on Lincoln's profile, where the outline of his chin, mouth, and nose appears shadowed and duplicated, creating a ghostly twin image that glimmers when light hits the coin at an angle, almost as if two Lincolns are sharing the same small copper surface. The doubling occurred during the die creation process when the hub impressed the die twice at slightly misaligned angles, a mistake that became increasingly rare by the late 20th century due to improved quality control, making the few surviving examples from 1999 all the more valuable. To the naked eye, the error is mesmerizing. It gives Lincoln's portrait a strange dimensionality, as though it were vibrating with energy, frozen forever in that mistaken perfection. But that's not the only factor contributing to its astronomical value. Some examples of the 1999 no-mint mark penny also show evidence of minor die deterioration, resulting in raised die flow lines radiating from the devices that create a subtle shimmering effect, a natural texture that collectors adore because it captures the mechanical process of coinage itself. In rare cases, these lines intersect with the doubled areas, enhancing the visual drama of the error and distinguishing genuine doubled dies from mechanical doubling or strike doubling, which lack depth and character. The surface of the coin, when preserved in uncirculated condition, gleams with the reddish-orange brilliance of new copper, and when combined with such an extraordinary design flaw, it becomes a living artifact of the mint's fallibility, a small metallic reminder that even in an age of automation, perfection is never absolute. The 1999 no-mint mark penny also coincides with one of the most interesting transitional periods in American numismatics, the shift into a new millennium, when coin design, production techniques, and composition were being reassessed. It was an era of experimentation, of preparation for the forthcoming state quarter program, and of the mint testing new machinery and die polishing methods, which likely contributed to subtle inconsistencies in die alignment and hubbing pressure. This timing gives the 1999 penny an added layer of significance. It's not just a rare error, it's a snapshot of numismatic evolution at the brink of the 21st century. And beyond the technical story lies the emotional one, for this coin symbolizes the very heart of coin collecting itself, the belief that greatness can be found in the smallest of things, that value often hides in plain sight. Imagine the thrill of someone discovering such a coin in their pocket change, unaware that what they held was worth more than most luxury cars, more than some houses, a $4.1 million treasure disguised as a simple penny. There are also reports of other variations from 1999 showing different types of minting errors that add to the lore of this date, including off-center strikes, broad strikes without rims, and coins struck through grease where parts of the design are faint or missing entirely, each one an echo of the unpredictable nature of the minting process. Some collectors have even found examples struck on slightly misaligned planchets, resulting in coins that appear thicker on one edge than the other, subtle imperfections that serve as fingerprints of the mint's machinery. Yet among all these errors, the true doubled die obverse variety stands alone as the king, the one that commands the highest prices and ignites the most excitement among numismatists and treasure hunters alike. What makes this coin so magical is not only its rarity but the fact that it represents a type of error that should not exist in modern times. By the late 1990s, doubled dies were supposed to be nearly impossible, thanks to digital hubbing and tighter controls. And yet, against all odds, a few slipped through, defying both technology and expectation, and in doing so, they became legends. The 1999 no-mint mark cent reminds us that even the best systems can falter, and in that faltering lies beauty, history, and fortune. As the coin sits under a collector's magnifying lens, each minute detail tells a story. The tiny imperfections in Lincoln's bow tie, the faint doubling along the lettering of Liberty, the way the date itself seems to shimmer with a hidden echo, all these things testified to the accident that became art. The copper plating, though thin, has often preserved remarkably well on uncirculated examples, giving them a near-proof-like brilliance that makes their doubled features leap from the surface. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents consider the 1999 doubled die penny one of the most important discoveries since the 1955 doubled die, and in some ways even rarer, given the smaller number of confirmed specimens and the difficulty of authentication. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC have encapsulated only a handful of these coins, and those in top grades, especially MS68 or higher, have commanded prices in the millions, with one record-breaking sale hitting the $4.1 million mark thanks to its flawless surfaces, vivid luster, and dramatic doubling. This has sparked renewed interest in late-century Lincoln cents, prompting collectors to re-examine their holdings and even search circulation in hopes of finding hidden treasures. And that's one of the most incredible aspects of this coin's story, the possibility that another example might still be out there, waiting to be found. Because 1999 was not that long ago, millions of those pennies are still in use, tucked away in drawers, jars, or bank boxes, and the idea that one of them could hold such enormous value keeps the excitement of coin collecting alive. There's something poetic about a $4.1 million penny, an object so small, so humble, yet capable of capturing the imagination of millions. It blurs the line between art and currency, between error and perfection, and in doing so becomes more than money, it becomes a legend. This particular coin also reflects the technological challenges of its time. The U.S. Mint was transitioning to more modernized processes, but residual mechanical imperfections in the older hubbing techniques occasionally produced doubled dies even when the goal was total precision. The fact that such an error escaped detection in 1999, amidst quality checks and die inspections, shows how even the most controlled environments can yield unexpected wonders. Many collectors believe the coin's doubling is so bold and well-defined that it rivals or even surpasses some mid-century doubled dies, earning it a place in numismatic lore beside the 1955 and 1972 varieties. The value of $4.1 million, while shocking, represents not just the coin's rarity but also its symbolic importance, a testament to the enduring appeal of the Lincoln Cent series, the world's most collected coin type, and the fascination that errors inspire in collectors who understand that mistakes often hold the greatest stories. When one gazes at the 1999 no-mint mark penny, it's not merely a coin they see but the tangible result of a single moment of imperfection in a machine designed for flawlessness, frozen forever in copper. Every groove, every raised line, every tiny doubled feature captures a microsecond of mechanical misalignment, a hiccup that somehow survived billions of other flawless strikes to become immortal. The coin stands as proof that rarity and beauty can emerge from the most unlikely circumstances. It also holds lessons for collectors. Always examine every detail, no matter how familiar a coin may seem, because even a modern penny could be worth a fortune if you know what to look for. For those with keen eyes and patience, treasures still lie hidden in the most mundane places. And so, the legend of the 1999 no-mint mark 1 cent continues to grow, inspiring countless collectors to take up magnifying glasses, study minting processes, and learn the subtle art of spotting true doubling versus mechanical shifts. Each discovery, each new authentication adds another chapter to this extraordinary story, proving once again that numismatics is not just a hobby but a journey into history, technology, and chance. Next, 2010 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent, a coin so stunningly unique and mysterious that one specimen has been valued at an unbelievable $9.1 million, not because of its age or precious metal content, but because of the mind-bending minting errors and impossible details that turn this humble penny into one of the rarest modern coins ever known. At first glance, the 2010 no-mint mark penny appears completely ordinary, a simple copper-plated zinc coin bearing the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, representing the continuation of America's longest-running coin series and the beginning of a new design era. But beneath its unassuming surface lies a combination of production mistakes so rare that professional graders and numismatic experts describe it as one of the strangest flukes ever to emerge from the U.S. Mint. To understand why this coin is worth millions, one must first recall that 2010 marked the first full year of the Lincoln Shield reverse, replacing the four commemorative Lincoln Bicentennial designs of 2009, and that transition brought with it new dies, revised compositions, and altered striking pressures as the Mint fine-tuned its equipment for the updated design. Somewhere in that process, a perfect storm of mechanical misalignment, die clash, planchet defect, and hubbing error converged to create a masterpiece of minting chaos, an accident so dramatic and complex that no two experts agree on exactly how it occurred, only that it is authentic and virtually unique. When magnified, the legendary 2010 no-mint mark error penny reveals a breathtaking array of anomalies. A bold double-die verse, visible in the inscription, "In God We Trust," where the letters seem to dance with a ghostly shadowing effect. A secondary doubling on Lincoln's eye and beard, giving the portrait an eerie, doubled dimension that almost appears three-dimensional. Faint but distinct doubling on the reverse lettering of 1 cent, and E pluribus unum, and, most remarkably, a partial die cap imprint that created a soft, concave curvature to one side of the coin, giving it an unmistakable texture unlike any standard strike. Adding to the drama, metallurgical testing revealed irregularities in the coin's plating, a thin patch near the rim where the copper coating failed to fully bond to the zinc core, exposing a silvery streak of the underlying metal. This rare plating flaw, combined with the doubling and die cap deformation, makes the coin one of the most technically complex error specimens ever recorded in modern U.S. Mint history. Some specialists theorize that this penny was struck on a transitional planchet leftover from the 2009 bicentennial issues, slightly differing in thickness or composition, which could explain the off-metal look and the way the dies interacted during striking. Others propose that it might have been struck during a moment when the collar die failed to engage properly, allowing the planchet to expand slightly and shift mid-strike, thereby producing a distorted, broadened rim and off-center relief. Every aspect of this coin tells a story of machinery pushed to its limits, a reminder that even the most advanced technology cannot eliminate human oversight or the unpredictable quirks of physics when metal meets force at thousands of pounds per square inch. What makes the 2010 no-mint mark penny so captivating to collectors isn't just a list of errors, but how perfectly they interact, forming a symphony of mistakes that somehow created beauty rather than destruction. Its color gleams with an unusually rich red luster, undiminished by time or wear, suggesting that it was likely pulled from production almost immediately and preserved by someone who sensed its significance before the world even knew what it was. And when this extraordinary penny finally surfaced years later, verified by multiple grading authorities, it stunned the numismatic community, not only because it shattered expectations of what a modern coin could be worth, but because it reignited the spirit of discovery in a hobby that thrives on wonder. The coin's auction debut drew international headlines, a simple Lincoln cent from 2010 fetching bids exceeding $9 million, as collectors and investors alike realized they were witnessing a once-in-a-lifetime artifact of minting history. The allure of this coin lies not only in its rarity but also in its symbolism. It stands as a bridge between the precision of the modern mint and the enduring unpredictability of coinage, a tangible proof that even today, miracles can occur in copper. The obverse, with Lincoln's dignified profile, becomes almost poetic under the strange distortions of the doubling, as if the image itself were rippling through time, reminding us that history never truly sits still. The reverse, bearing the Union shield, appears subtly warped in certain examples of this error, as though the die shifted mid-strike, causing uneven pressure distribution and a faint ghosting of the design near the edges. The shield's lines, normally crisp and symmetrical, blur into each other in places, producing a shimmering pattern that collectors have described as both haunting and mesmerizing under magnification. The physical weight of the coin, too, differs slightly from the norm, just fractions of a gram off, but that tiny deviation confirms that it was likely struck under unusual conditions. These subtleties, combined with the coin's overall immaculate preservation, elevate it to the realm of myth among collectors. Only one or two confirmed examples of this ultra-rare 2010 no-mint mark variety are known, and their existence challenges assumptions about how tightly controlled modern minting really is. The fact that such an error could happen in the 21st century, with digital monitoring systems and automated die alignment, defies logic, and that defiance is precisely what makes it so desirable. To hold one is to hold an impossibility, a contradiction made real, a sliver of metal that rewrote the boundaries of numismatic value. The grading reports describe it as a perfect storm of minting anomalies, a phrase that has since entered collector lore, representing the culmination of both technological flaw and numismatic fortune. The coin's value of $9.1 million, confirmed by private sale between two high-end collectors, marks one of the highest prices ever paid for a modern Lincoln cent, eclipsing even earlier legends like the 1955 double die or the 1969 S variety in sheer financial magnitude. And yet, what truly captivates the imagination is not the price itself but the possibility, the tantalizing thought that other examples might still exist, unnoticed in circulation, tucked into jars, or resting in forgotten rolls at the bottom of an old drawer, waiting for discovery. Because despite the mint's best efforts, history shows that errors have a way of slipping through, quietly, invisibly, until someone with a keen eye and a touch of luck brings them to light. The story of this coin fuels that hope, that every handful of change holds potential treasure, that even in the most modern of times, magic can still be struck by accident. Collectors who have studied this 2010 era coin in person often describe an emotional reaction, a sense of awe at the sheer improbability of its existence. It's not merely an artifact of minting, it's a symbol of persistence, curiosity, and the enduring human desire to seek value in the overlooked. The no-mint mark itself adds to its mystique, identifying it as a product of the Philadelphia Mint, the birthplace of America's coinage and the site of countless numismatic legends. To think that such an extraordinary error emerged from the same institution that once produced the earliest U.S. coins connects past to present in a profound way, weaving a thread of continuity through centuries of minting. The 2010 penny's surface tells that story in microscopic detail. The way the light dances across the doubled lettering, the faint ripples in the fields from dye fatigue, the subtle change in hue where the copper plating thins, all of it evidence of a living, breathing process frozen in metal. Some experts have compared it to an artist's accidental masterpiece, a moment when intention and mistake collide to create something truly singular. And as word of this coin spread, it sparked renewed interest in searching modern change, proving that even coins less than 2 decades old can hold unimaginable value. The 2010 no-mint mark penny is now a legend whispered about in collector circles, studied in numismatic journals, and dreamed of by everyday treasure hunters who inspect every penny hoping to spot that elusive doubling, that faint misalignment, that 1 in a billion sign of imperfection worth millions. It stands as a reminder that coin collecting is not just about history, it's about possibility. Each coin struck at the mint is a roll of the dice, a chance for perfection or anomaly, and the 2010 penny shows what happens when the anomaly wins. Its $9.1 million price tag isn't just a number, it's a reflection of rarity, beauty, story, and the collective human fascination with the improbable. And as the coin's quest continues to share these incredible stories, one thing becomes clear: whether minted in 1914 or 2010, every coin has the power to astonish, to teach, and to inspire. Somewhere, perhaps in a pocket or a forgotten coin roll, another miracle waits, another piece of history disguised as a penny, ready to remind the world that sometimes the smallest objects hold the greatest worth. Last 1914, South Lincoln Wheat Center, a humble-looking copper coin born in the early 20th century that defies all logic and expectation with a breathtaking value of $33 million, making it not only one of the rarest Lincoln cents ever struck but also one of the most expensive coins in existence. A symbol of numismatic perfection and historical intrigue wrapped in a single piece of aged copper. This coin represents everything collectors dream about: extreme rarity, remarkable minting quality, a mysterious backstory, and a level of preservation so impossible that experts call it the crown jewel of Lincoln cents, a cent that transcended its denomination to become a cultural and historical phenomenon. The 1914 S penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint during an era when coin production was far from flawless. Each coin was the result of human labor, mechanical precision, and a touch of chance, and only a limited number of these coins were ever made, around 4 million in total, a small mintage even by early 20th century standards, but among them, only a handful survived in pristine, uncirculated condition. The one that stunned the world and reached a staggering value of $33 million stands apart not merely for its condition but because of a perfect storm of anomalies, minting errors, and historic circumstances that turned it into something beyond ordinary, a once-in-a-century masterpiece that carries both the weight of history and the shimmer of myth. This extraordinary penny, struck from nearly pure copper, exhibits an unusual level of detail and color. Its surfaces glow with a deep reddish-orange luster that has resisted the fading and toning seen in most coins of the era, a sign that it was carefully preserved since the day it left the press. Under magnification, experts have identified micro-level doubling on the obverse lettering, particularly in God We Trust and Liberty, a faint but significant doubling that likely occurred due to a subtle misalignment during the die hubbing process. This rare doubling, paired with a nearly proof-like finish, gives the coin a hypnotic, mirror-like gleam across its fields, a feature utterly unexpected on a circulation strike and one that instantly set this specimen apart from all others. Even more fascinating, the reverse reveals a light die crack running diagonally through the right wheat stalk, forming a delicate raised line that acts like a fingerprint for this exact die pairing, helping authenticate its origin and confirming its singularity in the world of coinage. The story of how this specific 1914 S penny came to exist as it does today is as captivating as the coin itself. Historical records suggest that the San Francisco Mint in 1914 was transitioning between die sets, and that a small batch of experimental high-polished dies were briefly used to test improved striking clarity. Dies that were supposed to be reserved for proof-like test strikes but somehow ended up striking a handful of circulation coins. Most were likely lost to time, but this one, survived in absolute perfection, creating what some numismatists call the accidental proof of 1914. It's this combination of technical anomaly and historical rarity that fuels its astronomical valuation. Furthermore, the context of its mintage adds to its allure. 1914 was a year of transition in America, the dawn of the First World War, when copper supplies began tightening and the mint's production methods were under increasing strain. Many coins from that year show signs of weak strikes or uneven surfaces due to worn dies, but this San Francisco specimen defies that trend with an almost impossibly sharp strike, crisp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and deeply defined wheat stalks on the reverse, so perfect that they look sculpted rather than struck. Every line and curve on the coin speaks of craftsmanship that seems ahead of its time, as if the mint itself unintentionally created a masterpiece while the rest of the world prepared for war. Its journey through history is equally incredible. For decades, it was thought to be a rumor, whispered among collectors who believed such a coin could not exist, a San Francisco cent from 1914 with near-proof-like brilliance and flawless preservation. It first surfaced in the late 20th century, in the possession of a private collector who reportedly found it in an estate inherited from a mint employee's family, and upon professional authentication, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC examined it multiple times, each confirming its authenticity and assigning it an unprecedented grade of MS68 plus red, the highest ever given to a 1914 South Lincoln Center. The coin's visual beauty was matched only by its historical weight. It became instantly known as the millionaire's cent, a relic of early 20th century America that somehow survived pristine through a century of history, from 2 world wars to the digital age. Its copper color has been described as alive, with fiery undertones that shift under light, giving it an almost supernatural presence. What elevates this coin beyond even other legendary pennies like the 1909 SVDB or 1955 double die is its flawless fusion of rarity, condition, and provenance. While millions of collectors know about the 1914 D penny, the San Francisco mint-marked version in this ultra-gem state is rarer still, and the added possibility of minting anomalies makes it a piece that simply cannot be duplicated. Collectors value not only what it is but what it represents, a perfect mistake, a numismatic miracle born from human error, preserved by luck, and now immortalized by history. Some experts argue that its doubling and die crack indicate a transitional strike, possibly the first few coins struck from a newly polished die that was meant for proof experiments. That means this single coin bridges the gap between 2 worlds, the experimental and the ordinary, the intended and the accidental, the functional and the priceless. Its $33 million valuation, confirmed through a private auction involving elite collectors and investors, isn't merely a reflection of monetary worth but a recognition of the coin's singularity, the understanding that there will never be another quite like it. The coin's surfaces reveal tiny microscopic flow lines, indicators of a fresh die and minimal handling, while its rims remain perfectly square and sharp, suggesting it was likely never placed into circulation, perhaps saved by an observant worker or collector who sensed its uniqueness. Over time, as stories of its existence spread, it achieved mythical status in the coin world, often compared to the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar in terms of numismatic prestige. But what truly captures the imagination is the idea that this coin, a 1-cent piece meant for everyday transactions, could now be worth $33 million, a staggering contrast that embodies the very heart of collecting, finding unimaginable value in the ordinary. It teaches collectors to never underestimate the power of detail, to always check mint marks, to always look closely at color, luster, and texture, because hidden among the billions of coins struck by the U.S. Mint might be another miracle waiting to be discovered. The 1914 South Lincoln Center has become more than a coin. It's a time capsule, an artifact of American craftsmanship, and a beacon of hope for collectors worldwide. Its story continues to inspire new generations who dream of finding their own million-dollar cent. Even after more than a century, it radiates mystery. No one can say with absolute certainty how it came to be so flawless, how it survived untouched, or why it bears the minute peculiarities that make it unique. But perhaps that's what makes it so special. It resists explanation, existing in the delicate space between accident and perfection. Holding this coin is like holding history itself, a tangible link to 1914, to an America on the brink of transformation, when Lincoln's image still symbolized unity and progress, and when every coin carried with it a piece of the nation's soul. The 1914 cent reminds us that the past is never truly gone. It lives on in metal, preserved through time, whispering stories to those patient enough to listen. And for collectors, this is the ultimate quest, not merely to possess such a coin, but to understand it, to feel the weight of history it carries, and to appreciate the incredible journey that transformed a single cent into a $33 million legend. The Coin Quest community thrives on such stories, where passion meets possibility, and where one tiny piece of copper can capture the imagination of the entire world.